Hi, everybody. This is Advocate Lucinda, your empowerment lawyer. I have pro se asking me questions that are frequently asked. So I figured if they ask them, perhaps you have the same questions. So let's get started. First question is, how do I identify the defendant in the complaint? We see here that plaintiff John Doe is suing multiple defendants, some in their official capacity and in their individual capacity. Mayberry County is the entity. Sheriff Andrew Griffin is being sued in his official capacity and his individual capacity. And by the way, suing someone in their official capacity is the same as suing the entity. And then we have Barnabas Fide in his individual capacity. Another frequently asked question is, how many times can I amend my complaint? Well, there is no particular number of times. Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 15A2 says the court shall freely give leave to amend the complaint when justice so requires. And one case you can review is Foreman versus Davis, 371 US 178 and page 182. It's a 1962 case. And this case is highly recognized by court as a leading decision on the interpretation of permission to amend a complaint. And here's the point: the courts should be liberal. So please feel free to cite this case when you file a motion to amend. Now, of course, you want to read it, but certainly it's a good case to cite. Along with how many times can I amend a complaint, pro se asks, well, what is the process for amending a complaint? Well, the plaintiff can amend the complaint once as a matter of right. Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 15A provides a party may amend the party's pleading, talking about the complaint, once as a matter of course at any time before a responsive pleading is served. The responsive pleading is referring to the defendant's answer to the plaintiff's complaint. And by the way, when the defendant files a motion to dismiss, it is not an answer to the plaintiff's complaint. If the plaintiff survives the defendant's motion to dismiss, then the defendant is required to answer the plaintiff's complaint. So, after a responsive pleading is filed, pleading again is the complaint, a party may amend the party's pleading only by leave of court or by written consent of the adverse party. So let's talk a little bit about the operative complaint. This is really critical. I was speaking with someone earlier this week, and they were amending their complaint, but they were amending only the portion that the court pointed out, thinking that if they amended just that part, that their entire complaint would be before the court. That's not true. Make sure you understand this, that once your complaint is filed, and once it is accepted by the court, it fully replaces the original complaint. So your amendment should include both the content you want to keep from the original pleading or complaint and any new content you want to add. You got that? That's really important because once that complaint has been accepted by the court, that's the operative complaint, and that's the complaint that the court is going to refer to throughout the litigation. Okay? Another question is, do I need to respond to the defendant's answer to my complaint? The answer is no, unless it's a counterclaim. Plaintiff sues defendant, defendant sues plaintiff. Counterclaim. In that case, where the defendant has counterclaimed the plaintiff must serve an answer to the counterclaim or cross-claim within 21 days after being served with the pleading that states the counterclaim or cross-claim. Now, I get this one a lot. Defendant answered my complaint. What's next? Now, this is important because this is going to help you, pro se, to manage your case. Now, Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 26F requires that the plaintiff and the defendant meet and confer. Now, you can read Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 26F. The plaintiff and the defendant will meet and confer and will actually discuss the case. Next, the plaintiff and the defendant, both parties, will meet with the judge, and they will repeat to the judge what they discussed in the 26F conference. And they will have at hand a prepared scheduling order, or let's say a proposed scheduling order for the judge to review, and eventually the judge will sign. And pro se, to help you be prepared for that 26F conference, you would want to get your hands on the conference checklist, the Rule 26F conference checklist. And you can go to the website where the lawsuit is filed, and generally the court will have a checklist on its website. Okay? Now let me say this, pro se. You really have to be proactive here, okay? Because I've heard from many that the opposing counsel is silent on these conferences. So don't be timid by being the first to make the initiation here. Contact the opposing counsel. Initially, begin to communicate with opposing counsel. Let them know, look, we're supposed to get together and talk about this scheduling order. So when are you available? Okay? Be proactive. So I get this one a lot. When does discovery begin? Again, the scheduling order should set forth the commencing date. Make sure a scheduling order is in place. Can I reply to defendant's reply to my response to their motion? I get this one a lot as well. Here is how this works, the sequence. And let's say defendant files a motion to dismiss. Defendant files a motion, plaintiff responds to the motion. Defendant replies to plaintiff's response. Stop. Any further reply would require permission from the court. So, plaintiff, if you see something in the defendant's reply, which gives the defendant the last word, that you believe is unfair or would be prejudicial to you if you are not permitted to reply, you can seek permission from the court to file the reply. And it's called a SIR reply. And this permission is called leave of court. And always read the local motion rules because jurisdictional information varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, okay? And then, can the plaintiff file a summary judgment? Yes, the plaintiff or the defendant can file a motion for summary judgment. Federal Rule Civil Procedure 56. Pro se, remember, if you file the motion for summary judgment, the rules are going to be the same for you as they are for the defendant, okay? I appreciate your questions, and I'm always glad to answer them. I'm Advocate Lucinda. Be empowered. See you next time. Take care.